To many timeshare owners, the idea of making a compensation claim can be fraught with questions. Do I qualify? Was I really missold, or am I being greedy to seek compensation? Am I making a fuss over nothing? Sure, the timeshare companies ignored some rules, but was it that big a deal? Is it complicated? How long will it all take? How much does it cost? How do I avoid scams? Which firms are the most experienced? Because many timeshare owners share the same concerns and reservations about whether they should make a compensation claim, we decided it would be useful to speak with a recent European Consumer Claims (ECC) client. Andrew Rees has kindly agreed to share his experience with our audience in the form of the following interview. Hi Andrew, welcome and thanks for agreeing to be interviewed. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Andrew Rees. I'm 58 years old. I live in Manchester, England. I've got 3 children and I'm married, happily married for over 20 something odd years.
And what do you do for a living, Andrew?
I work in construction.
And the all-important question, are you red or blue?
Red.
So, you bought a membership of Amphi about 10 years ago. What made you decide to go and take a timeshare sales tour?
It was a Thomas Cook rep, actually, in the hotel that we were staying in. We was only, I think it was our first day on our holidays. And it was them to say, if you wanted to go and have a nice day out, it's to go to Amphi and have a day out with the children and have a look round, basically. That's all they said to us.
And you trusted them because it was Thomas Cook recommending you?
Yeah, we went because Thomas Cook had suggested that we went. Yes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have bothered because we never normally go into that kind of thing. But because they'd actually said it, we felt different about it.
Now that you know Amphi had a financial relationship with Thomas Cook and they got paid for recommending their guests to visit Amphi, how does that make you feel about the way in which you were invited?
Well, I feel like they didn't represent us properly, I think. They misled us somewhat because obviously we wasn't aware that they had any involvement with them. Because if we had done, we wouldn't have gone.
On the day of the visit, do you remember how long the sales presentation took?
Yeah, on the day we went early morning and we was there till it was late afternoon. I can't remember exact time, but it was late in the afternoon and we were pretty exhausted by the end of it. Remember that.
I'll bet. And during the presentation, were you left alone at any time or were you constantly accompanied?
No, there was somebody with us all the time. We wasn't left alone at any point.
So, after these several hours, you've made the decision to spend around £27,000 to join the club and handed over a deposit of around £3,500. Would you normally make a decision of that magnitude without taking time to think about it?
No, not really. We would never have taken a decision like that in our normal day-to-day lives. It was obviously because we were surrounded by, palm trees and sand and sunshine. We wouldn't have normally took a decision like that without going away and thinking about whether we could afford it and all the pros and cons regarding a purchase of that magnitude.
Did it surprise you to find out that Amphi had broken the law by taking a deposit on the day?
Yes and no. I wasn't aware that was a law back at that point. It was only later on, and obviously dealings with certain, different companies that I found that it was illegal. But I understand why they didn't want us to leave, is because obviously they didn't want us to go away and think about the sale that we was about to embark on and what was involved with it long term.
But you had a 14-day cooling off period to change your mind though, right?
Well, yeah, because they'd moved us in straight away. Well, they took us by taxi and brought us back. We packed and went straight back. And obviously what became apparent later that day was that, well, because we had signed up with them and they brought us back, if we chose not to, with the cooling off period, and they were going to charge us the £1,400 for that holiday, basically.
At what point did you and your wife decide that you regretted committing to joining Amphi?
After the first year when we went back, because we was told at the beginning of it all that they had a buyback facility on this. So at any point that we could basically sell it back to them for the same money what we paid for it. So we thought, oh, basically, if it wasn't for us, we could effectively have got our money back. The first year we got home and we sat and thought about it, and it seemed as it was no way out of this for us. Yeah. The first year we actually approached them over the buyback scheme, and then they said that there was no longer the buyback scheme was available for us. So we thought, well, it was pretty strange with it being the first year effectively. And then they tried to change us over to a point system that first year and get more money off us again. So, but we didn't proceed with that.
How did you feel when you discovered that the buyback scheme was a lie?
Well, I was disappointed, to say the least, with that. And I felt like I'd been cheated. And obviously I'd been misled, because that's what the rep, and he told us on more than one occasion during the day that we could, in theory, sell it. Well, basically they'd buy it back at what we paid. And obviously, subsequently, that wasn't the case, because we tried on 2 or 3 occasions the buyback scheme, and it was never available at any point.
And how did you feel when ECC informed you that they could get you compensation from Amphi because of their disregard for the law?
Yeah, we was a little bit skeptical at the beginning, because we was thinking, oh, is it too good to be true? And we started to do some research on ECC regarding what kind of success rate they had and everything, and so on and so on. And we had a look at other companies as well, and they were probably one of the best. The success rate was really, really high.
In the end, I believe you've got around £21,000 back so far, and with another £5,000 to £10,000 to come.
Yeah, it was €23,500.
Ah, okay.
So the exchange rate was it was about £21,000 in total. So yeah, it was lovely getting that. I mean, that was like the icing on the cake. You know, it's been quite a long road, but ECC did what they actually said they was going to do, which obviously we was grateful for, and it was really good.
Fantastic. And what is your advice to other people who may be considering a compensation claim?
For some people, it may be the right decision that they joined Amphi, and for some people, it may not have been the right decision. Obviously, some people could afford to do it, and a lot of people probably can't afford, especially if it's an old person. Because how we felt was that we were pressurized into, not pressurized. It was a subtle way that they did it, but it ground you down during the day, and that we was fairly young then, so it would obviously, for an older couple, or it'd be a lot more easier for them to obviously get them.
Okay, so what's your advice to people considering approaching a firm like ECC to find out about claiming compensation for being missold?
From my own personal perspective on it, is that I would recommend them to anybody. You know, if you've got a valid case for it, then go ahead. It can take quite a bit of time, but you just got to be patient, and you will get there eventually, because we did.
Okay, and have you got anything else that you'd like to add to what you've already told us?
No, obviously I appreciate what ECC have done for us, and it's relieved a lot of stress and pressure from our family unit now. So we're really pleased with that, to say the least.
Andrew, thanks very much for your time, and thanks for agreeing to do this interview for us. Many owners don't realise how subtly Spanish timeshare resorts steered them into spending large sums of money. Seeking the compensation you are entitled to is the only way to make predatory companies pay for their actions. If you bought in Spain during or after 1999 and any of the following criteria apply, then you could be eligible for compensation. If you paid a deposit on the day, within the first 14 days actually, or your ownership is points or floating weeks, or if the contract was for over 50 years. There are other situations where a claim may be possible, and if you would like to find out more, get in touch with us at ECC for a free, no obligation chat.